Hi, I'm Dr. William Toffler. I'm a professor of family medicine at Oregon Health and Science University in Portland, Oregon. I'm speaking for myself, not for the university. I appreciate the legislative committee's time in allowing me to speak remotely. I'm distracted right at the moment at the hospital as one of my patients is in labor, and I wish I could be there in person, but I cannot. I've been in Oregon for almost 36 years. When I first came to Oregon, assisted suicide was both unethical and illegal. It's now legal in Oregon, but it's, in my mind, unethical. It will never be ethical as it's an inherent conflict of interest for physicians, nurses, and everyone in the medical profession. Since the passage and implementation, approximately 991 people have taken their lives according to the Oregon Health Division. Of course, what's being reported is all secondhand information from doctors who often are proponents of assisted suicide themselves. They can distort what actually happened, and in many cases, they really don't know what's happened because they're not even present at the time that that the patient takes an overdose, or that someone gives them an overdose, because we really don't know what happens. Fewer than 1 out of 10 doctors are actually present. So the information the Oregon Health Division is reporting is really all second or even third hand. So when everything is said to be going swimmingly, there's really a shroud of secrecy over the practice. In fact, even with freedom of information, reporters or I, as a physician, can't get access to the information. In fact, there's a duplicate reporting system on the death certificate where you can report that the cause was natural as from the disease, underlying disease itself, and yet the death certificate says there wasn't a death by overdose, there was a death by the underlying disease. So there's, for the first time, a formal fabrication of what's actually going on on death certificates, official reportings to the Oregon Health Division or by the Oregon Health Division. Many individuals who are labeled terminal are given overdoses by their doctor, and yet they're found to be depressed by a formal study by one of my colleagues, Linda Ganzini, right here at OHSU. Fully 25% of the patients were depressed by formal interview as a part of a study, and 23 had major anxiety disorder. None of them were referred to physicians, counselors, psychiatrists, and yet they were given overdoses and are dead. These are treatable conditions that could allow people to live long beyond what predictions that doctors make. By the way, predictions by doctors are prone to huge errors. All of us, almost all people, know of people who were given a poor prognosis of maybe 3 to 6 months to live and are alive and well 12 months later, 12 years later even. In fact, the diagnosis is often wrong. So we have real problems with the whole practice because it's fundamentally flawed. Doctors get very good toward the end of the time of life, but we're very bad more than 3 months out, really more than 2 weeks out. We get very good in the last couple of days. I've had more than 24 people ask me about this in my practice. One of them was a patient with MS in a wheelchair. He actually expressed at one point during an urgent care visit that, if things got much worse for him, that he might want to end his life with assisted suicide. I listened to him. I found out that he had a really active life. He had a vibrant 17-year-old daughter, a very strong relationship. And at the end of him telling me what he was feeling, I said, I think I understand what you're saying. And he said, and he nodded almost like he was glad I was listening to him. At the same time, I came back to him, I said, despite your feelings, I want you to know that if I were your doctor in the future when you're feeling this way or getting more disabled with MS, I would do everything I could to help you, to take care of you, to make your life meaningful, but I could never participate in assisted suicide because your life's important to me, even when you're disabled and even when you're in a wheelchair. He simply said, thank you. And by the way, I told him his daughter would probably say the same thing. And again, he nodded his head. Yes, she probably would. So when people ask about this, when they say, I want to be dead, maybe they're just saying, I just don't feel I have the strength to go on living. When they say that, no one really cares, they may say, I might as well be dead. Maybe they're just simply saying, am I a burden? They need reassurance. So we're not islands. Patients who express such wishes need our support and love, not assisted suicide. The solution to suffering is never to end the life of the sufferer. We have excellent palliative care, pain relief. We need to turn to those specialists and colleagues when I can't do it myself as an independent primary care doctor. Most problematic to me is the change in attitude and the distrust One patient who wasn't even my patient, but knew of my stance publicly, called me up because two oncologists had given her different opinions. One was more optimistic, one was more pessimistic. She asked me, is one of the doctors a doctor with a pessimistic opinion? One of the, quote, death doctors? Such questions were never a part of the fabric of care in Oregon prior to the passage of assisted suicide. But the distrust among many patients in Oregon is profound about the motives underlying doctors. My concern also is for managed care. One of the largest managed care organizations in the state is the state itself, for Medicaid, for the underserved patients in our state. So they're denied sometimes pain medications that I want to give them, but they're given 100% coverage for assisted suicide. Such a person was Barbara Wagner, who was a school bus driver, retired, and had a recurrence of her cancer. Cancer doctor wanted to give her Tarceva, a specific targeted chemotherapy agent that would have given her a 45% increased chance of being alive in 1 year. She was denied that. Her oncologist wanted it, she wanted it. Fortunately, the drug company provided the drug for free to her. And so she got a chance at having life-prolonging or the ability to live as she wanted to live by the drug company. And they said they would give her more in a year if she was successful, and she was one of the people that benefited by the drug. So as legislature of the state of Maryland, I firmly stand, I hope you firmly stand, with the leaders of 46 other states who have rejected assisted suicide. As a society, we should continue to reject assisted suicide as a solution to suffering. Don't make Oregon's mistake. The sick and aging of Maryland deserve better. On a personal note, I want you to know that I lost my own wife after 40 years of marriage, 7 children. We now have 14 grandchildren. I lost her a year and a half or more ago. It was very difficult at times, and yet there was great joy in the last 5 years of our life. In fact, I would venture to say the last 5 years were among the best, if not the best, of our life, because we knew every day was special and important. She died at home, surrounded by family, peacefully, because she got excellent palliative care. She died with dignity. So I take some offense at the profound corruption of the English language to say that if you take an overdose, that's death with dignity. What does it say about individuals, families like mine, who chose to live their life fully until they died naturally? Again, don't make Oregon's mistake. Thank you for your time.